Okay, thank you very much, and welcome to Cable 10's coverage of the Final 12. The AA Boys Provincial Championship being contested here at the Aiken Center tonight. Dave Richard here with Andre Champagne. Number 1, Woodstock Warriors, and number 2, the St. Stephen Spartans. And we just have refereeing here tonight will be Dave McManus. We just talked to Dave McManus very briefly here, Andre. Trouble for sure.
Well, anytime McManus is reffing a game, oh, just awful.
We should mention, this is the third Woodstock team in the Final 12, and the Warriors do not hope to duplicate what the Class A Warriors did, or the AA girls, both losers in their respective classifications. But here tonight, they're number 1 coming in against number 2, St. Stephen.
Again, we had that happen with the girls, 1 against 2. The number 1 team, Woodstock, got defeated by the number 2 team. I've got a funny feeling here that St. Stephen is going to come out and blank Woodstock this year. Woodstock go 0 for 3 in the Final 12.
Well, they've met twice before this season, have that team there on the screen, St. Stephen and Woodstock, and both won by Woodstock by 3 points. But St. Stephen coming off a very emotional victory in the regional final, beating Carleton North 88-75, and St. Stephen, or Woodstock rather, defeating Tantramar 82-52. And you talked about Mike Kearney, the player to watch here tonight for Woodstock.
Well, Mike, tremendous shooter, very creative. I was speaking with Brian Stocker before the game started, and he said if Mike Kearney is on, he's just great. And that's something to look for. If he's not shooting the ball well, we'll see what happens. But if he's shooting the ball well, St. Stephen's going to have their hands full with him.
Well, that team right there, coached by Donnie Walker from St. Stephen, and coaching Woodstock is Chris Grant. Or check that, Brian Boyd, or is Chris Grant's the manager, as they're introducing now the Woodstock Warriors. Number 1 versus number 2, as we talked about. This is the 4th game played in the Final 12 up to this point. Both the Class A boys and girls and the AA girls have already been played here at the Aiken Center.
Get some more fans have filed in here, and this place is really packed now.
It's a big crowd for this AA final. We talked about the tradition of basketball at St. Stephen, Andre. Really, Donnie Walker's done a tremendous job with that program, and every year they're a factor, as are the Warriors, here coached by Brian Boyd.
Well, for years it's been Carleton North, Woodstock, St. Stephen, Tantramar. Those 4 teams are predominantly the strong teams in the AA men's. Years past, Sugarloaf had some good teams, but you're going to get those 4 with Tantramar, St. Stephen, Woodstock, and Carleton North. They're going to be there every year. And Donnie Walker's a tremendous coach. He always has his kids ready to play. That's why I got a funny feeling about this game today. I think Donnie's really got them ready to go, and they're going to peak here.
We talked about Dave McManus being one of the officials. The other official, Dean Fowler, out of Moncton, working this AA game.
I shouldn't say anything about Mr. McManus. He might be refereeing our
might come back
final.
to hunt you at some point.
No, he's one of the most respected officials in the Atlantic provinces.
Well, we're just about ready to go here. This is the ceremonial tip-off. Sort of a half-hearted effort on the part of the St. Stephen player there, Andre Champagne. Oh, now we're ready for business here.
I think the St. Stephen player just wanted to get on with the game.
That's Eric Babcock, number 9 here for St. Stephen, and number 6 is Wetmore for Woodstock. And on the tip, it's controlled here by the Warriors. With the ball is Andrew Lawrence, number 5. Over now to DeLong, inside, up for Wetmore. That's off the rim, just in front. Controlled now by St. Stephen. That's Jamie Wheat, number 11. Over here now to Mike Weeks, back to inside. That went off the St. Stephen player. Or check that the Woodstock player will be inbounds here by St. Stephen. Wheat, number 12.
I think the St. Stephen team traditionally very well-disciplined teams.
Robinson, number 10 here for St. Stephen. Lays back now to White. Back in here to Robinson. Up for 3 points for St. Stephen. Check that, 2 points.
They're only giving him a 2.
That looked like it was outside the line.
That was clearly a 3-point shot.
Up there, shot there by number 44, Mike Kearney. Watch him for Woodstock.
Well, if he's on, St. Stephen's got their hands full.
Randy White back here to Greg Robinson here for the Spartans. Robinson at the top of the key, trying to get a shot and will. And it's 4-2 now for St. Stephen. Robinson with that bucket for the Spartans.
I think they're going to check that 3-point call.
Well, it happened just in front of our broadcast location here, Andre. It looked like it was a 3-pointer. And Donnie Walker talking down to Dave McManus. You can see it on the picture there, McManus and Donnie Walker. And that is the source of the delay here, is that first shot. And we can hear some attack calls from the audience behind us. But it happened just in front of our broadcast location. Donnie Walker felt that was 3 points.
We've got
we have a replay of this. We have a replay, I believe, here. You're gonna watch Robinson right here.
Clearly a 3-point shot.
No question.
Clearly a 3-point shot.
No question. And maybe if we can roll the replay again, guys.
It's coming right here. There's
right here.
Very clearly a 3-point shot. It's not where he lands, it's where he releases the basketball.
Well, they're gonna give him 3 points, I believe.
Right there.
No question.
Clearly a 3-point shot, clearly.
Left-handed
shooter.
Well, we did offer the video, and the official said no, but they subsequently have given him 3 points on that shot by Greg Robinson. Now it's inside here for Woodstock, and the play's called. That was number 8, Ryan Taylor.
It's too bad they don't allow video replay. You know, so many people hated it in the NFL. But I think it's a good idea because officials make mistakes.
Why not make it
like
right?
That?
That's right, exactly. I can understand maybe the high school level, though. Most games aren't televised.
Yeah, that's right.
But we did get a pretty good indication there. Now Wetmore here for Woodstock, left-handed shot, and successful. 5-4. This might be a scoring fiesta, Andre.
Oh, this will be a very high-scoring game, up and down the floor.
Early indications. Now Kearney here for Woodstock. Power move to the basket. That's off the rim. There's a foul on St. Stephen. On that move there by Mike Kearney. We talked about he being the marquee player. He was the most valuable player of the regional. Had 37 points against Tantramar, the 82-52 victory for Woodstock. They had that man right there at the foul line, number 44, Mike Kearney.
Well, Mike's a good shooter. His sister was a former player for the Woodstock Wildcats.
That time, though, the ball stayed out on that foul shot by Kearney. Once again, double dipper, but the rebound. Ryan Taylor with the bucket there for the Warriors.
Well, I'm sure Donnie Walker doesn't like to see that, an offensive rebound off a missed foul shot.
Now Robinson in here to Randy White. Now that shot there is off the rim, control here by Woodstock. And they're bringing up court here with Lawrence, number 5, to Kearney. Inside now to Wetmore, back here to Kearney. Kearney caught in the key along with the St. Stephen player, Mike Weeks, number 12. Pretty good job done by both players in that sequence. And now controlling here is St. Stephen. Robinson once again here for the St. Stephen Spartans. In here now to Weeks. Back to Randy White. Inside now, Weeks up. That's off the top of the rim and controlled now by Woodstock. Lawrence up here for the Warriors. Back here to Kearney, inside now to Wetmore. He lost it. And right now a plethora of turnovers. Robinson here for St. Stephen. Pretty good nifty move there by Robinson, but the shot will not go. Wetmore now here for Woodstock. For Lawrence, up on the wing here now to Taylor. Back here to call on Wetmore, power move to the basket. And the rebound goes out of bounds. It's going to be controlled here by Woodstock. That meets with some derision from the crowd.
Well, I think you're going to hear it from both these crowds. They're noted for that sort of thing.
Now Kearney being defensed pretty well there by Weeks. Good pass, cross court now. Lawrence inside here to Wetmore. Watch him. High arc shot though is off the rim control here. And Bonnie connected there with Ryan DeLong here for Woodstock. 8-5 now for the Warriors.
That's something that St. Stephen's going to have to deal with now, is keeping Woodstock off the offensive boards. We saw it happen in the girls' game where Carlton North got to the offensive board. You got to keep those people off there. Don't give them a second chance.
Now St. Stephen will bring the ball up court with Robinson, number 10. Being guarded by DeLong. Now over here to Randy White for St. Stephen. Back here to Weeks. Weeks now puts on the brakes. Double team into the corner now to White. Back here to Robinson. For the Spartans, Robinson in towards the basket, and a heck of a shot there by Greg Robinson. And he's fouled as well. Here's a replay of this. And Andre, a heck move there by number 10, Greg Robinson.
I like the way he hangs in the air, gets it up with the left hand. Nice soft touch. Taking it right to the hoop too. Doesn't have any fear there.
Got hacked there by Ryan DeLong, number 22 here for Woodstock. 8-7. And control now by the Warriors. Lawrence into the offensive zone here for Woodstock to Wetmore. Wetmore in off the backboard, and it's now 10-7 now for Woodstock.
Wetmore is another key player for the Warriors.
And he's a big man, is number 6. Literally and figuratively. Now inside here, and Kearney trying to get control of the ball, and finding control here by Woodstock. Kearney has it, number 44. Kearney in to the basket, and just an air ball there by Mike Kearney. Finding control here by Randy White here for St. Stephen.
Mike kind of got himself at an odd angle there. It was a tough shot.
Now Randy White. 10-9 for Woodstock. Now Kearney. That's off the rim. Wetmore in for the 2. Wetmore is 6'5". He really looks bigger on that, Andre.
Yeah, you really got to keep him off the offensive boards. They can't let him get second shots all the time. He's got a nice touch around the hoop.
Now Kearney rejected that shot there by Eric Babcock. Here's a replay of this. Watch Babcock, number 9, with the ball here, right here, and Kearney.
Mike coming over the top, got all ball, nice block.
Now St. Stephen with that shot from the corner, off the rim, and controlled now by Woodstock. Lawrence over on this side now to Boyd, back to Lawrence. Lawrence over here to Wetmore. Wetmore, he's got the high arc for sure. That's off the front of the rim, and a foul is called here against St. Stephen. Dallas Gunn is called.
Good called with the pushing foul. I didn't get to see that at all.
So Lawrence over here to Boyd. Boyd, that's in. 14-9 for Woodstock. Robinson plays it ahead, a power move with a basket, and a foul on Ryan Taylor here for Woodstock. That was Shirley's number 4 here for St. Stephen with a power move right here. And
just didn't
with
get
the illegal
roll.
contact with Ryan Taylor.
Didn't get the roll. It was a nice strong move to the hoop.
Now Shirley's at the foul line here for St. Stephen.
Something St. Stephen's going to have to do is they're going to have to hit the foul shots. It's important that, they got the foul here. They didn't get the basket, but he's got to hit the foul shots now.
Once again, Tell you, some pretty poor foul shooting in this game up to this point. And Shirley's right there, missed both for St. Stephen. Now Lawrence over this side of Boyd, back here to Lawrence. Lawrence over to Boyd. Plays back to Wetmore. Wetmore now here for Woodstock. To Lawrence. Over here to Boyd, inside now to Wetmore once again. Outside jumper's good by Colin Wetmore, who's been a force here in the first half.
Tough player to defend. He's 6'5". He can go inside and outside.
Now Robinson over here to Weeks. Plays back to Sears. That shot there by Weeks, that was a bunny and he missed it. Now Lawrence here for Woodstock. We're ahead 16-9. Lawrence, and hit from behind, I believe, is going to be the call.
Well, St. Stephen's going to have to finish down here. They got a nice little curl off a screen. He's got to finish.
Well, here's a shot of the foul right there.
That's his first team score.
Well, no question, Andre, and I think as well, they got to find a way to stop Colin Wetmore.
Yeah, he's tough to defend. Being 6'5", sets up in the high post. He can hit that shot from the jump shot or from the foul line. He can also take the ball to the hoop. He's also a left-handed player, which some people find very difficult to defend. They got to keep him off the offensive boards.
There are some of the St. Stephen cheerleaders. Pretty good delegation here from St. Stephen for this game as well from Woodstock here at the Final 12 at the Aiken Center. As you look at the pictures being provided by our Cracker Jack Cable 10 crew in the truck, our director, Rob Johnston, putting this all together. As you look at Dave McManus. We will mention as well our infamous Cable 10 crew, Carl Drost, Denis Cormier, Sean Leland, Stanley Hawks, Rodney O'Donnell, of course, the program director at Cable 10, Coachella Hattie. I'm Dave Ritchie, along with Andre Champagne, the AA boys final here at the Aiken Center. And right now, Woodstock ahead, 16-9, and off to a pretty good start, I think, is Woodstock. We talked about St. Stephen maybe being a bit of a sleeper for this game, Andre, but right now, Woodstock is taking it to the team in green.
Yeah, again, St. Stephen having some problems just finishing. If they can finish, they'll be all right. They're getting good shots.
Now Boyd, that's off the rim. Rebound though. That was Ryan DeLong, number 22, a foul on St. Stephen.
Those three people can pick up their hats.
And Donnie Walker can't believe the call.
As Lloyd McKenzie, Peter McIntyre, and
Someone agitated after that one.
Well, that's the kind of, anytime you go for a block like that, and there's a lot of, you get the offensive players still have the ball in their hands, and the defensive player strips it right out of their hands. It could go either way.
Yeah.
I mean, the official was right there, so he probably made the right call.
I wonder if they make that call though late in the second half.
Probably not.
Go on. Once again, converting. 18-9. Now for Woodstock over St. Stephen. White inside. Up for a power move, and fouled is Jamie Wheat, number 11. Here's a replay of this foul. You watch Wheaton here. Inside, right there, and he will be fouled.
It's a nice little up and under move.
And that's Wetmore with the foul, number 6.
Again, he should be finishing that. There's not enough contact there to really make him change his shot too much. He should have finished that.
18-10 now for Woodstock. Wheaton looking to cut into the deficit once again, 18-11. Now Lawrence here for the Warriors. Up to DeLong. Back to Lawrence. Into the corner now. Boyd to Kearney. Kearney with the turnaround. Now Boyd with the rebound with the 2 points for Woodstock. David Boyd with that here for the Warriors. Now Robinson over here to Weeks. Weeks now for St. Stephen, and pretty good bucket there by number 12, Weeks. He went down as well after hitting the jumper there. It's 20-13 now. Wetmore in the key here for Woodstock. That went off the rim. Controlled now by St. Stephen once again. Robinson
Well, that's a key that St. Stephen's going to have to get the defensive rebounds and get the ball up the floor against Woodstock.
Now White, that went off the rim, and control here by Woodstock's Lawrence. Long pass over here to Boyd, back to Lawrence. In here to Mike Kearney, into Wetmore, and plays called. I think there was a foul there as well, but pretty good give and go that time, Andre Champagne.
Well, that the offensive sequence is nice. Woodstock gets good movement. I like the way they come out. I like the way they set up in the 1-3-1 and use Wetmore in the high post. He's got a nice touch, and he can put the ball on the floor and get to the hoop.
And Wetmore drew the foul with that move inside. And there's no question, you can just see the ball handling ability of Mike Kearney with that pass into Wetmore. Let's get the foul shooting though.
They're the two keys to this team. They're constantly leading them in scoring. So if St. Stephen's going to be successful, they're going to have to stop one of the two of them.
Wetmore once again, that time, he connects. 21-13 now for Woodstock. Robinson in here for St. Stephen. At the top of the key over here to Randy White. Being watched by Lawrence. That was partially tipped though, but that turnaround jumper by Babcock is good. 21-15. Lawrence over here to Boyd. Back here to DeLong. In here now to Taylor. Now Lawrence. That pass behind DeLong, and a 3-on-down here for St. Stephen. And Jamie Wheaton with the bucket for the Spartans. Well, turnover so critical. That time, Jamie Wheaton, the beneficiary for St. Stephen.
I see Donnie Walker getting up and telling the St. Stephen team to get back on defense.
Well, that's a great equalizer, Colin Wetmore. Now Robinson here for St. Stephen, which trails 23-17. In here to White. Being guarded by Lawrence. Outside now. That's Robinson. Robinson now in power move with the basket off the backboard though, and rebounded by Wetmore.
It's a little hard off the glass.
Now Boyd here for Woodstock. David Boyd, number 4, will leave it there for DeLong, or Taylor rather, and that was off the front of the rim and called against St. Stephen, I believe.
Well, the foul's on Woodstock.
Yeah, it's going to be Ryan Taylor, offensive foul. As articulated by Dave McManus. So inbounding will be St. Stephen, which trails 23-17. Pretty rousing first half though, Andre.
Yeah, it's a good pace. I think both teams there are no butterflies here. You can tell just by watching the two teams play.
They have a strut for sure. We saw that in the warm-up. They know they're good and they are good.
That's a tough pass to handle there.
Now Kearney in here for the Warriors. Slows it down back here to Lawrence. And DeLong now into Mike Kearney, and he just leaned on the St. Stephen player, Mike Weeks, and drew the foul. Here's a replay of this. You watch Kearney here. So subtle is number 44. And you watch right here, he'll just lean on Weeks right there.
Well, he's got him pinned. He's got good offensive position there. You get him the ball, you're either going to get fouled or he's going to get a good shot.
Now Wetmore with the spinorama and with the bucket. 25-17 now. Robinson in here for St. Stephen. Out of control there was Robinson, and it was rejected by Woodstock. Now Lawrence up ahead. Lawrence wants to get inside down to Wetmore. Watch him. Well, Colin Wetmore's put on a clinic here in the first half.
St. Stephen's going to have to make some sort of an adjustment there.
That pass goes awry. I think we've lost Andre Champagne's headset here. Here's your Funding Cableton scoreboard. 27-17 for the team in red and white, or burgundy and white. Or is that garnet? Now Wetmore. That's shot by Wetmore, and I'll tell you, they better find a way to stop Colin Wetmore, or they're going to be in deep trouble, St. Stephen. Now Robinson. Over here to White. Back to the top of the key. That was Mike Weeks, number 12 for St. Stephen. Now Taylor in here to DeLong, back here to Wetmore, and that's off the rim. And it's called by referee Dave McManus. The foul's on Mike Kearney. And a timeout's being called.
As his first team step.
We can get Rob Johnson in here to take a look at the headset of Andre Champagne. We've lost communication with the commentators. As you look at the St. Stephen cheerleaders, the score here, 29-19 for Woodstock, and it's been a Wetmore show here in the opening 11 minutes of this first half. As handyman TC Klein, if you look at that team there on the screen, the Woodstock Warriors, a powwow with Brian Boyd, and the Warriors will get off to a pretty good start in this game.
I think St. Stephen is going to have to make an adjustment. As far as defending Colin Wetmore, they're coming at them. Woodstock's coming at them in a 1-3-1 set, and they get the ball in the high post to Colin Wetmore. He could go. He can take the ball to the hoop off the dribble. He can shoot the jump shot there. They're going to have to come up with some sort of change in their defense to neutralize Colin, because he's killing them now.
Now Randy White here for St. Stephen. That pass picked off, and they go the other way with DeLong. He missed the layup though, and he was hacked as well from behind. Wow, that's going right to the basket that time though.
That looked like Woodstock went over the back there on that rebound. No foul called.
Well, you're right. DeLong was the man who made the power move to the basket. They're going to inbound the ball though. Now Lawrence inside here to Mike Kearney. That could have been a foul by Weeks.
And there's Donnie Walker yelling not to reach. So it did look like a foul, and I think Donnie knew it.
But no call. Travel on Woodstock's Mike Kearney. So St. Stephen. Well, there's no question, Andre, that Donnie Walker is very animated. He's right to the right of our broadcast location. Very much in the game, as well he should be.
Oh, Donnie gets into it. He enjoys the game. And I think he's just a little frustrated that the offense isn't clicking here for St. Stephen.
Now Weeks inside. That shot just around the rim there by Wheaton. Does not drop though for St. Stephen. Now Lawrence will bring the ball up court here for Woodstock. In here to Kearney. Kearney in the key, and with a bucket for Mike Kearney.
See, now there's Woodstock again coming out of the 1-3-1 set, and they go right into the high post. Now this time it's Mike Kearney because Wetmore's out of the game. And you get the two of them who are equally effective at that spot.
Inside here to Jamie Wheaton, and trying to feed the ball into Babcock, and some traffic inside. Going to go to Woodstock.
Colin Wetmore steps back onto the floor.
That's got to be, that won't help the disposition of Donnie Walker at all.
No.
He's animated as it is, but he looks at the big man here for Woodstock in this first half, Colin Wetmore, who's back in the ball game. Now inside here, that's Kearney with a jump and a jumper off the backboard. Once again, the marquee players doing it for Woodstock. Now Robinson, power move with a basket.
Oh, he's going to call an offensive foul.
On Greg Robinson. Here's a replay on this.
I'd like to get a look at this.
Well, we're going to get a replay. Here's Robinson with a power move right here between those two defenders. And
looked like Kearney had his feet set.
Now Kearney travel. So a turnover by Mike Kearney here for Woodstock.
That's two travels by Mike. He's just got to settle down a little bit.
33-19 for the team in white. Woodstock ahead of St. Stephen here in the Class AA boys final here at the Aiken Center, part of the extravaganza of high school basketball in this province. And good ball handling that time by St. Stephen.
That's something that they have to do. Is they're going to have to be patient on offense and move the ball, cut down on the number of turnovers, and sort of settle down, not get so frustrated with the Woodstock team.
Wetmore off the front of the rim. Now DeLong went up and he was rejected. Boyd. Well, that's a trifecta there for Woodstock.
And when you give a team, you know, 3-4 extra shots.
All right, here, one, then DeLong, then Boyd.
So Woodstock had 3 opportunities to score there, and you know, if you do that, you let a team get the 2 or 3 offensive rebounds, you're not going to win. And I'm sure I know Donnie Walker knows this, and he's going to address this with the team. They're going to have to box out, get them out of there, and get the defensive board.
There's Boyd with the foul shot. He missed. Tell you, maybe it's got something to do with these rims here too, Andre. We talked about this facility, the depth perception, and especially at this end.
Okay. Greg Gould actually mentioned that to me last night. He said that it's not so much the depth perception as much as the rim. I think it's the other way around, but he thinks it's the rims here. And they do seem a little stiff here.
Well, of course, Greg is the head coach, and you're the assistant,
That's
Andre.
right. So he's right.
That's his third. At the line for Woodstock.
Well, you wonder about the seats as well. But these rims, you're right. An awful lot of balls going off the rims, and they're not getting the favorable roll as well.
No, so he might have a point there.
Of course, you have the headset, not Greg Gould.
Yeah, well.
Wetmore, that's off the front of the rim, as we talked about.
Well, Greg will be here for the AAA games tonight, so I better just be quiet now.
Robinson in here to White. Plays back here to Weeks. Now Robinson once again here for St. Stephen. To Mike Weeks. In the side now to White. Back here at the top of the key, and a bucket there for number 14, Jason Hand, for St. Stephen.
Again, there's St. Stephen being very patient offensively and getting a good shot out of it and getting the 2 points.
Now DeLong in here to Wetmore, back to DeLong, to Lawrence. Around the perimeter inside now, that is number 8, Ryan Taylor with a bucket for Woodstock. 37-23 now for the Warriors. Robinson in here for St. Stephen. Now into Mike Weeks. Weeks in double team back outside now to Robinson. That's off the front of the rim and controlled on the rebound by Weeks. Back here to Robinson. Thought about throwing it up. Now he will. And once again, that's off the rim, controlled by Wetmore. Lawrence here for the Warriors. Flows it down here to Wetmore, and watch him crank it up. That's off the rim. The rebound. Well, that's the first half of microcosm right there, Andre Champagne.
Yeah, that's something Woodstock or St. Stephen cannot allow to happen. He shoots the basketball. You got to block him out. He just follows the shot, an easy tap in.
Now Weeks back out here to Randy White for St. Stephen. To Robinson. Greg Robinson over here now to White inside. Double team on Hand, back out to White. That's in for 2. 39-25 for Woodstock. And take a look at this replay with Colin Wetmore. And right here with the first shot, then the rebound. Uncontested there, Andre. He came in right behind the shot, and an easy 2 points.
Nobody boxed him out. Didn't see which player was guarding him in that particular play, but he got up and got his hand in his face, but then he didn't box him out. I mean, you're not going to block a shot to begin with. And then if you don't box him out, he's just going to go right to the boards, get the rebound, put it right back in. That's what happened.
There you look at St. Stephen. Donnie Walker looking for some magic here late in the first half. We're down to 5:07 left to go in the half. 39 Woodstock, 25 St. Stephen.
Well, St. Stephen has finally found some sort of offensive flow here. They're getting good shots and they're hitting those shots. Now they got to do some stopping here. If they don't find a way to box out Colin Wetmore and the rest of the Woodstock team, then they're not going to win the game.
Well, we talked about Kearney and we talked about Wetmore, and tell you, those two players have really come to play here tonight for Woodstock. Lawrence now with the ball. Inside to that man again. Omnipresent is Wetmore. Outside, now that shot. It's an air ball by Looney. And a foul is called.
A Woodstock foul. We saw in that last possession, Woodstock shot the basketball. Number 14 for St. Stephen really blocked out Colin Wetmore.
Jason Hand. Now White. Foul there was on Taylor, by the way, for Woodstock. Mike Weeks back here to Randy White. White in here now. That shot is off the back of the rim, controlled by Wetmore. That shot there by Babcock. Now Mike Kearney comes the other way for Woodstock. In here to the side. That shot by Lawrence is good. Good give there by Mike Kearney. Better shot was Lawrence, and he made it count for Woodstock. Now Robinson. Good pass off to Mike Weeks, and that's a heck of a bucket there by Mike Weeks for St. Stephen.
It's good penetration and nice dish.
Kearney. You got him going, boys. Watch out.
Wetmore and Kearney are both on. There's a lot of problems for St. Stephen.
43-27. Robinson back here to White on the perimeter here for St. Stephen. We'll leave there for Robinson. Robinson just can't get inside. Over here to White. That's off the glass. White once again, though, just in front of the Woodstock basket. There's a scrum. And with the ball now is Woodstock. That's Looney up ahead here to Kearney.
That was a good transition from defense and offense for Woodstock. We got the loose ball. Mike Kearney get up the floor.
45-27 now. And Weeks with a bucket there for St. Stephen. You got a long ways to go, Andre, but at 45-29, it looks ominous for St. Stephen. I think Walker knows it.
I think that he knows that they're going to have to make some changes on the defensive end of things.
Babcock lost it.
That's a bad turnover for St. Stephen.
And Walker's beside himself here, just to our right.
He's got every right to be right now. Again, in that last possession, Wetmore shoots the ball, and they didn't box him out again. He went hard at the offensive boards.
And that time the rebound corralled by Jason Hand. Now Robinson here for the Spartans being watched. In here to Mike Weeks. Weeks, well, I'll tell you, he's got that power move to the basket. And he's been probably the most conspicuous St. Stephen player here in the first half.
Well, like I say, St. Stephen's not having any problems putting the ball in the hoop. They're having problems stopping Woodstock, and they got to make some sort of adjustment here.
Now Boyd into the key for Woodstock. That's off the front of the rim, though. The rebound controlled by Kearney, though, and he's knocked around just underneath the basket. There's your Funny Cable 10 scoreboard, 45-31 for Woodstock. Here in the AA final, men's final of the Final 12 tournament. The extravaganza. 1 versus 2, and right now 1 is beating number 2.
Well, we still have quite some time to go. In the guys' game especially, if like a 14, 15 point lead, it really isn't that much. You see it all the time when we do the UMB broadcasts. You know, a 20-point lead isn't that much. It can be erased very quickly.
Yes, that's a funny ball club, that UMB team. They can beat Cape Breton, they can beat Acadia, but they can't beat Memorial. Why, Andre, why?
Oh,
Says Clint Hamilton.
it's the pit. They're not playing in the pit when they beat Memorial.
I guess
they lost
not.
to Memorial.
Away from the pit, they are the pits, apparently. Now Robinson. Over here, inside, and a nice bucket there by Jason Hand. A pretty good feed there by Searles. Now Looney here for Woodstock, back to Lawrence, over to Boyd. Boyd will throw it up, that's off the front of the rim. Now DeLong and Wetmore. And there were 2 Woodstock players and nobody from St. Stephen.
I think St. Stephen just switched into a 2-3 zone there, and some of the players seemed a bit confused.
Robinson. That's off the backboard. Robinson once again, though. And can't get the ball to drop, but there will be a foul here against Woodstock.
Robinson's getting good penetration and getting the shot off, but he's not finishing too many. He finished the first one he took to the hoop earlier in the game.
But here's a replay on this. DeLong with the foul for Woodstock, number 22. Watch right here, Robinson. They get knocked around there by DeLong underneath the basket. Well, I think Robinson and Mike Weeks, I think for St. Stephen, are really taking the ball with the hoop, and obviously that's what they have to do when you're going up against Wetmore and Kearney for Woodstock.
I think Woodstock's the type of team, Mike Kearney and Colin Wetmore are the type of players, too, that challenge your shots. So they're going to pick up some fouls. Now, you get either one of those two in foul trouble, and the Woodstock team changes drastically.
First shot there by Robinson was converted by number 10. 49-34. Robinson looking to make it 49-35. Nice scorer's touch does Greg Robinson.
St. Stephen has switched over to a 2-3 zone now. See what kind of difference this is going to make.
Lawrence. Now Looney. Back here to Lawrence with the jumper, and you can't defense that.
They didn't get out there and put any pressure on them. They're just sitting back in the 2-3.
Obviously concerned about Wetmore and Kearney inside. Now Robinson. Pretty nifty bucket there for St. Stephen. And got fouled as well by DeLong.
I get the impression that Robinson can take the ball to the hoop almost all the time, but obviously you're not going to want to do that as a team, but this is where he finishes nicely that
right
time.
There, and DeLong not happy with the call. Dave McManus very emphatic, as you see at the right of the pitcher. Now Robinson looking for the three-point play here for St. Stephen. 51-38 now for Woodstock. Now Looney inside here to DeLong, just in front here. Kearney lost it. And Robinson has it now for St. Stephen, who are on a bit of a roll now, Andre.
Well, that looked...
and Robinson...
There you go, Robinson taking the ball to the hoop.
Uncontested that time.
I think Woodstock's struggling a little bit with the 2-3 zone. They don't know what they haven't made the necessary adjustment.
Now Boyd back here to Looney. Back at the top of the key there, and that's a momentum killer right there by Lawrence.
Well, they've got to hit those shots, and you know Woodstock has hit the last two.
We have a 13-point ball game now. And Robinson once again with a patented power move, but that time missed it.
I think maybe he was looking to pick up the foul there too.
Now Kearney, that pass to DeLong, get the ball, give right back to him, and he converts to number 22. And Donnie Walker, I'll tell you, he's frustrated by that one. That ball went right to DeLong after a bad pass by Kearney.
Got 5 seconds left on the clock.
Robinson will throw it up.
Three. Oh.
And at the half, Andre Champagne, 55-40 Woodstock.
I think the problem that St. Stephen is having now is they just cannot stop Mike Kearney and Colin Wetmore. And they switched into a 2-3 zone there, and some of the other Woodstock players come up and hit those jump shots. I think what St. Stephen's going to have to do is make an adjustment, take the game away from Kearney and Wetmore, and make the other Woodstock players beat you.
Maybe a guy like Lawrence from outside. Well, TC Klein, in a moment, we'll be talking with referee Dave Fligger. Dave worked the Class AA girls final with Woodstock and Carleton North. So when TC is ready to go, we'll throw it to TC Klein and David Fligger. Okay,
Thank
take
you
it
very
away.
Much, Dave and Andre. Joining me now is referee Dave Fligger. Dave, a little bit of prestige in being selected to referee one of these final games.
Oh, it's just great, Tracy. Yes, you know, we look forward to this all year, just like the players and the teams do, and to be chosen from all the referees in the province is a great thrill and an honor.
Yeah. The place is absolutely packed. I mean, for every game, the officials have been doing an excellent job. But with these large crowds, and of course it's being televised, is there any added pressure on an official?
Well, there's always, you put a lot of pressure on yourself because you want to do the very best job you can. This is a beautiful facility, a great spot in the center of the province to host these. And with this floor and the way the crowd is set up, you're quite a bit removed from the crowd, and you can just work your ball game. You don't have to worry a lot about the outside influence, and it's just a great facility.
I know that a lot of players, of course, have to worry about being in great shape when they come to this floor, but this is a big floor. How about the officials? They have to be in good shape too.
Well, hopefully we try to, we're working pretty well every day, all year long. And, you work yourself into shape. Try to do a little extra running between games, either outside if the weather's good enough, or in the gym if it isn't. And you have to be in good shape to keep up with these players.
Dave, how does it work? I know you're from St. Stephen, and you got to do the AA girls game. Of course, St. Stephen teams were not involved there. How does it work with officials coming from all around the province and doing these games?
Well, we have an assigning committee that is headed by Don Grant from Moncton. Don does a great job. I hope he's hearing this, but Don does a great job because he has to get all the input from all the different regions as to who's working well that year, who's available for the games, and then he has to look at the teams that are involved, try to get neutrality as much as possible, and try to work in the best officials.
Dave, we should also mention that now because you're from St. Stephen, you get a chance to stick around and watch the AA boys play. So you switch now from referee to fan?
Well, you're a referee. You try to hold off the loyalties as much as possible. You're rooting for them in your heart because I work there, live there. Got a couple of sons coming up through the system right now. And, but as an official, you do have to keep a little neutrality and show keep the bias in check.
So what do the St. Stephen Spartans have to do to get back in this thing? Better rebounding?
Well, Woodstock shooting phenomenally. They've got a great percentage shooting. They're controlling the boards at both ends. St. Stephen started to show a little bit there at the end. If they're going to come back, they better come back quick because Woodstock's a big team and they really go on the boards.
Dave, thanks very much.
Thank you, Tracy. Great job.
Look for Donnie Walker's St. Stephen Spartans to come out flying at the beginning of the second half. They're going to have to get back in. Score 55-40. The Woodstock Warriors up right now on the St. Stephen Spartans. Join us for second half action on Fundy Cable. Welcome back to the Aiken Center for second half action. Woodstock Warriors up right now on the St. Stephen Spartans 55-40. But Coach Donnie Walker, I'm sure, had some inspiring words for his Spartans at the halftime break. Back over to Dave Ritchie and Andre Champagne. Guys, take it away.
Okay, TC, thank you very much. We're underway here in half number 2. It's 55-40 at the half here for Woodstock Warriors. Now Robinson in here for St. Stephen. Robinson in to the basket, and he is fouled.
Well, he picked up the foul again. Again, though, he's got to finish those. If they want to chip back into this game, he's got to finish here.
Looney with the foul for Woodstock.
We were saying the whole first half, it was very important that St. Stephen try to control Colin Wetmore. He ended up with 23 points in the first half. No foul trouble for him.
Robinson with the first miss there on the foul shot. Well, I think Robinson's been probably the most conspicuous St. Stephen player along with Weeks.
Now, Robinson ended up with 14 in the first half and Weeks had 10.
Lawrence now for Woodstock. Over on this side here to Looney. In here to Wetmore, back to Looney, over here to Lawrence. Playing the perimeter now is Woodstock into Wetmore. Wetmore being double teamed though, but Wetmore with a nifty move. Lost the shot though in the rebound by Kearney. And he is fouled by the Spartans.
Well, these offensive rebounds are just killing St. Stephen.
St. Stephen foul number 5, Perry Spencer.
And Spencer's call that time. Harry Spencer. Well, no question that Kearney and Wetmore have been the dominant factors.
Excuse me, number 9, Eric Babcock.
Now they've changed that. Babcock is the player ticketed. That shot there by Kearney is good. 56-40 now for Woodstock. A 16-point differential here in the second half as we begin. Half number 2 of this AA boys championship game here from the Aiken Center. The final 12. Right now being dominated by Woodstock. Babcock, that shot doesn't go. Now the rebound though, controlled and connected there is Jamie Wheaton for St. Stephen. Now Kearney here for Woodstock. To Lawrence, to Looney, back here to Lawrence. Trying to feed Boyd, that went off Randy White. So retaining possession here at Woodstock. Well, like the girls' game, I think, Andre, it's key, I think, for St. Stephen to try to get back in this game.
I think so. St. Stephen, again, they're not having any problems offensively. It's all on the defensive end.
Well, that time, David Boyd connects. But that girls AA final, of course, Carleton North, Woodstock way behind, looking to get back in the game at the beginning of the second half, and instead it was Carleton North just pulling away even further. That game was a cakewalk from that point in.
Yeah, the first 5 minutes of the second half are really going to tell you how the game's going to be played. They're very important. I think St. Stephen's come out fine offensively, but again, defensively, they're still not there.
Kearney, too much Kearney, I think, and too much Colin Wetmore, and right there, both conspicuous on that play. They got a lash to number 6, I think. Or it could be a long second half here for Donnie Walker and the St. Stephen Spartans. Now Robinson, a little bit out of control there, but the shot went off the backboard, the rebound, they missed that one in. Once again, connected though with Babcock that time for St. Stephen. Now Boyd here for Woodstock. Plays back to Lawrence, to Looney inside of Wetmore. He lost it.
Well, that's the most success St. Stephen has had on the defensive end, is when they get into that 2-3 zone.
Double team that time on Wetmore. Now Mike Wicks with a power move in the basket.
That was a good move. Good, strong take to the hoop.
Timeout being called by Woodstock. Big Mo swinging to the team in green. Here's the replay on that. Last point there by St. Stephen, which precipitated Brian Boyd to say, let's take a timeout.
Well, it's a good timeout. If the momentum starts to shift, you don't want to get them right back into the game. If it gets to be a 10-point game, then Woodstock, I know he doesn't want to be that close. Now, 10 points is really nothing in high school basketball.
Right now it's 60-46. As you look at the Funny Cable 10 scoreboard, should mention that another member of the crew has joined Funny Cable for this game, Stan DeVoe. Working the end zone camera. We will give the crew members here in a moment. They do a great job, the Cracker Jack Cable 10 crew, for the final 12. Rob Johnston, the brains of the outfit, the director. And what the director says always goes, Andre.
Apparently, yes.
T.C. Klein, of course, the producer, host, commentator, the play-by-play man for some of the games. He does everything, does T.C. Klein. Now that shot there by Looney was an air ball. Control here by St. Stephen once again. Robinson into the zone, dishes off to Weeks, and 2 more for Mike Weeks.
That's a big, big play for St. Stephen there. They get the defensive rebound, get the ball up the floor quickly. Robinson had nowhere to go. He picked up his dribble, got it to Weeks. Weeks takes it hard to the hoop and gets the foul.
Here's a replay on this, and you're right about Greg Robinson. He dished off that time to Mike Weeks, who made it count and was fouled as well, was Weeks. And that foul shot's off the rim, though. Now Lawrence in here for Woodstock. Over to DeLong, back to Lawrence, over to Wetmore. Wetmore in here to DeLong, who did well to maintain possession. Back out here now to DeLong once again from Lawrence.
You can see
over to Wetmore.
The St. Stephen players are really picking up on the defensive end here.
Well, he's a great eraser, I think, for St. Stephen. It's Colin Wetmore. St. Stephen played pretty good defense, and then they give the ball to Wetmore, and he sinks a jumper. Robinson, a little bit out of control that time, was fouled.
I think Robinson has to continue to take the ball to the hoop, pick up some fouls, stop the clock, get on the line, and hit the foul shots, okay? You get the clock stopped, but he's got to finish and hit the foul shots for St. Stephen to chip back into this.
I think that's 4 fouls on DeLong, is it not? 3 or 4.
DeLong had 3 at the half, so that's got to be 4
on number 22. I'll tell you, the foul shooting in this game has been atrocious. And maybe that's part of the facility we've talked about. And this end as well.
Well, that's something that plagues a lot of teams, is poor foul shooting.
Now DeLong over on this side now. Plays back to Lawrence. Does Lawson, who goes up for the jumper, and with the 2 points is Ryan Lawson. Comes off the bench and and contribute right away.
Well, unlike the Woodstock girls, these Woodstock, the men's team,
They're deep.
can't seem to miss.
Babcock in for St. Stephen. 64-50. Lawson over here to Lawrence. Lawson, and good hustle there by Randy White, but the ball will stay in possession of Woodstock. Boyd back in the game here for the Warriors, replacing DeLong.
St. Stephen has sort of switched up their defense again. They've gone into a 1-2-2 zone.
Now Boyd back to Wetmore inside. Boyd once again. All Walker could do was shake his head after that one.
There's nothing that St. Stephen can do about that. That was great ball movement by Woodstock.
Now Weeks in, and that was number 11. Wheaton was rejected though by Woodstock by the rim as well. Lawrence in here to Boyd, inside to Taylor, back out here to Lawrence. Good ball control once again, and Lawson. Well, that's 2 for 2 for Lawson, and once again, Andre, great ball movement there by Woodstock.
Well, Woodstock's hitting the jump shots. So, you know, there's nothing you can do about that. You're going to get a shot off, and they're hitting everything they put up.
Now Wheaton in here for St. Stephen. Dishes off to Babcock, who missed the relatively easy jumper there for St. Stephen. Now Lawson, who's contributed here for Woodstock. Wetmore in here, Lawson once again from the corner. That's off the rim though, and control here by St. Stephen's Mike Weeks to White. Up here to Babcock. Babcock off the backboard. Wetmore, I think, might have been fouled from behind as he got the rebound here for Woodstock.
Well, that's the kind of foul, too, that a coach doesn't like to see. You miss a shot, they get the defensive rebound, then you just go reaching in after, trying to swipe the ball away.
Right there. Good replay, guys. As you look at the St. Stephen cheerleaders, looking to bring some cheer to the Spartans ball club. Right now, they trail 68-50. And that man right there, Andre, Ryan Lawson, has come off the bench and done a pretty nice job for Woodstock.
Well, he's averaging around 10 points a game for Woodstock. You can see he's got a nice little jump shot. Again, everybody on Woodstock, they're hitting their jump shots. St. Stephen's playing tough defense. They're forcing them to move the ball around, but they're moving the ball very well, and they hit the open man, and they're hitting the jump shots. So there's nothing you can do about that. Woodstock's having a great game today.
There's your Funny Cable 10 scoreboard, 68-50 for Woodstock. Should mention, upcoming on Cable 10 here in the final 12. 2 more games remain in the sequence. The AAA boys, Riverview and Harrison Trimble. Of course, Harrison Trimble, the defending AAA champions, and FHS, Riverview in the AAA girls, and the Black Cats, 6-time defending champions in high school basketball AAA girls. Upcoming on Cable 10. Check your listings for those 2 games here at the final 12. Now Lawrence, they can't miss.
They haven't missed too many in the second half here.
20-point differential. Now Robinson plays back here to White inside now. That's Wheaton. Wheaton is rejected there. There's going to be a foul here on the part of Woodstock. Colin Wetmore, number 6, I believe, is going to be ticketed. A hack on Wetmore, or Wheaton rather.
That's something I'd like to do. Is if you know, you got a player like Colin Wetmore on the floor, is just take it right at him.
Yeah.
And see if he can't pick up some fouls.
Well, Wheaton, Jamie Wheaton, number 11 with the shot. Connects that time. Wheaton, number 11, with the second attempt. That's off the front of the rim. Control here by Woodstock, and Kearney going to the basket. Mike Kearney. Pretty soft touch that time, but missed the shot. Now Kearney once again over here to Wetmore, and he missed it. Double dipper on Woodstock that time. Now Randy White here to Mike Weeks here for St. Stephen. Back to White. I think this is the gut check time for St. Stephen at this point, Andre.
Yeah, they're running out of time now. It's 13 minutes left in the half, and they're down by 19. They're going to have to start getting the ball at the floor and taking a quick not necessarily a quick shot, but a...
Well, that time was a lame duck there by Babcock. Now, David Boyd here for Woodstock trying to slow it down. Back here to Lawrence. Over to Kearney. Now to Wetmore. Wetmore up, and that's off the rim and controlled by Babcock.
These are the times
for Robinson.
These are the times now that St. Stephen's they've got to score. Woodstock comes down and misses. One of their very few misses.
Well, rejected that time was Babcock by Kearney. Boyd. Back to Lawrence, to Kearney, in here to Wetmore. That bad pass to Lawson, though. Well, it looked like Lawson zigged, and the ball went behind him. I think Wetmore expected him to zig, and he zigged. And it's a no-no.
That's one of those things that happens from time to time.
Even at St. Thomas?
Never. Oh, yes, it happens with us.
Dave McManus, the referee. One of the best in the business is Dave McManus. Has been for a long time.
Oh, he certainly is.
In this city. Robinson, power move to the basket. It's in. But will count.
I don't think he's calling an offensive foul. He's calling it before the shot.
So that will not count. 70-51 is the score. Still. Oh, there's good passer, and
he's got to go straight up with
well, why Dallas Dunn waited that time? A perfect pass from on the inbounds, and Dunn was all by Lonesman underneath the basket. Here's a replay on this. He opted to, well, there's a previous play. And Dunn opted to delay that, and it was rejected, but subsequently they do sink the long shot. Does St. Stephen. Robinson.
Well, I think Dunn saw Colin Wetmore coming over to help out, and
that'd scare you.
You know, that's 6'5". You're going to think twice.
And Wetmore with that bucket there for Woodstock in response. 72-54. Now Robinson, a little bit out of control that time, but there's going to be a foul on Kearney. Well, Don Walker doing some quasi-officiating. Robinson will take the foul shot. Kearney now talking to McManus. He says, Mr. Referee, I think you missed that call.
Well, Dave McManus doesn't miss too many calls.
No, he doesn't. Robinson.
See, Donnie Walker made an interesting comment there. He's on one of his players. Anytime you're open, you got to shoot the ball, and that's something that, you know, they should be doing anyways. I think.
Well, when you're down by 17.
Yeah.
Rebound there in control, and nice bucket there by Jason Hand.
That's a big offensive rebound.
Now played back out here to Wetmore. Inside, and Taylor with the bucket for Woodstock. Well, you're right. I think defensively, St. Stephen has been found wanting in this game.
It just seems too easy for Woodstock to score.
Now, Weeks, that's rejected by Kearney, and Kearney's going to be called again, I believe.
I think that's Mike Kearney's fourth foul.
Here's a replay. That's his 4 on Kearney, and right there he got a little too aggressive to number 44.
Yeah, Mike complained a little bit, but that was clearly a foul.
And really, that far ahead, and Kearney is trying to get position there as well. Robinson. That's up and no good by Weeks. Now, brought up here by Woodstock. That's Boyd back to Kearney. He stops and the shot doesn't go. Now Boyd once again in here to Kearney in congestion. Now picked up by Boyd. Back to Kearney once again. Inside, and with the buckets, Taylor.
Just too easy for Woodstock.
You're right, it is too easy. And defensively, St. Stephen cannot stop this Woodstock team. Now Robinson up off the backboard, it's rejected. Or off the backboard and taken by Wetmore. Up here to Boyd now. Boyd. That's off the rim and controlled now by Mike Weeks for St. Stephen. Over here to Robinson.
think Woodstock or St. Stephen's going to have to get the ball off the floor a little quicker than that.
That's a bad pass. Was behind Jason Hand.
He wasn't expecting that at all.
Now Scott Ferguson, number 7, leaves there for Kearney. To Wetmore, back here to Kearney. With the spinorama off the front of the rim though, and control now by St. Stephen. Robinson. Robinson now in towards the basket, and that goes for Greg Robinson. Now Kearney. In here to Boyd, trying to feed Taylor, and he went down. And the foul is on Robinson, I believe.
I think he just called it a kick ball.
Well, we'll see here. There's Boyd. He got the ball. It was bad pass, actually, and brought in here now by Woodstock. That was Wetmore. Once again, Wetmore, and he missed the second attempt as well. Robinson will bring the ball up court here for St. Stephen. You can hear Walker say, move the ball up court, and Robinson is rejected by Wetmore. But keeping possession of the ball of St. Stephen.
I think it's dangerous if we get Robinson just trying to go coast to coast. What happens there is you get your teammates sort of standing around and not involved in it. And if they did, by some chance, get back into this game, at the end of the game, you know, the ball might not end up in Robinson's hand, and the teammates probably wouldn't know what to do with it after standing around for so long.
That shot by Wheaton is off the rim, controlled by Taylor. Over here now to Scott Ferguson, number 7. Ferguson, a little bit out of control there by Ferguson, but he got clubbed as he went into the key.
Another team foul situation. It's 17 fouls against Woodstock and only 3 against St. Stephen. So St. Stephen's got some fouls to give here.
Well, Jamie Wheaton with that foul there for St. Stephen. The score, as you look at the Funding Cable 10 scoreboard, 76 for Woodstock. That team right there on the verge of winning maybe the AA Boys Provincial Championship here tonight at the Aiken Center. 59 for St. Stephen. And there's that St. Stephen bench. Johnny Walker huddled in amongst the boys in green, who right now might be green with envy when they look at the scoreboard, look over towards Woodstock.
Well, I think it'd be nice to see Woodstock win. I mean, the first 2 teams that they had here lost. The community really supports the basketball program there, and you know, they've got all these fans here. It'd be tremendously disappointing to them if they didn't come away with at least 1 win.
You see Brian Boyd there, and amongst the Woodstock players. You're right, and they're full measure for it too, Andre. You know, when it's been Wetmore, and then when he sat out for a little bit, it was Kearney and Taylor. It's been a contributing effort on the part of all of these Woodstock players. David Boyd put in a great game here tonight as well for Woodstock. So it's not a 1 or 2 man band. It's been a team effort here on the part of the team in white tonight.
It has, and they've probably shot close to 60% from
yeah,
the
they've
field.
been dangerous. Wetmore particularly. Now Ferguson. Inside to Taylor, was hit from behind though, lost the ball. Robinson up ahead to Babcock, a power move in the basket. And with 2 points was Babcock. Right there, you saw Wetmore lay off on Babcock.
I think that's what St. Stephen's going to have to do. They're going to have to get the ball up the floor and really start to run on Woodstock.
That shot there by Ferguson doesn't go. And the rebound though, converted there by Woodstock. Now Robinson, that's in. 3 points, I believe, to Robinson.
That's a big 3. The momentum seems to be swinging towards St. Stephen.
78-64. 14-point lead. Now Wetmore, well, bring up the eraser. 80-64 now for Woodstock.
It's got to be really frustrating for St. Stephen to come down, they hit a big 3, and then just Woodstock basically walks the ball down the floor and give it to Wetmore, and he scores.
Now Kearney in here for Woodstock. Kearney with a pretty nifty move and stops, and with the scorer's touch that time was Mike Kearney. Now they come the other way with Randy White here for St. Stephen. We're running out of time. Babcock back here to White in the corner. Or check that, Robinson. Now to White, back to Robinson. Greg Robinson who's been probably the most conspicuous St. Stephen player here tonight. Robinson, that could have been a walk. Good pass over though, and converted by Jason Hand.
It's a good look by Robinson. He really sees the floor very well.
Ferguson, here to Taylor, back to Ferguson, and he throws it up. That goes in and out here for Woodstock. Now Robinson, long pass up here to Randy White. White lost the ball, but pretty nifty play there by Searles, and then he was rejected there by the Woodstock defense. Now Ferguson into the key and could not convert, could not control by St. Stephen. They're going so helter-skelter now, I think. Robinson, he's rejected, picked up here by Kearney. They're going back and forth. Mike Kearney to the basket with the bucket, but going to count as well, I believe.
So we got a blocking foul.
Well, here's your replay. This could be very critical, Andre.
That's that particular sequence we had here, going up and down the floor. Woodstock missed a couple times. At St. Stephen, they had to get up the floor and make some buckets if they were going to get back into this game. And now Mike Kearney takes it up, gets fouled, hits the hoop. Now he'll probably end up finishing this three-point play.
I think the St. Stephen bench thought that was an offensive foul on Mike Kearney, but no, said Dave McManus. They went against. Look at a replay of this again. You know, watch Kearney right there.
Yeah, he was moving. It
looked like the defensive player was moving there. That's right.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody wants to be a quasi-official here too, I think, Andre. And that St. Stephen bench would like to wear stripes right now because they're down 84-66 with 7:08 left to go on the game clock.
Well, actually, it's not that bad. I mean, if St. Stephen could do some stopping on the defensive end, they could come back from this. 7:08, that's plenty of time to come back from that, but they're going to have to get the ball up the floor quickly and take it right to the hoop.
There have been a number of times, though, in this game that they've shown signs of coming back in this game, and all of a sudden, Mr. Wetmore and Mr. Kearney go into high gear, and they've really taken away the momentum away from St. Stephen a couple times.
Well, Mike Kearney and Colin Wetmore haven't, well, they have displayed exactly why they're, you know, two of the best players in the AA league. Big time players, you know, they show up in the big games.
That's right. And there's no game bigger than the final 12. Foul shot was missed by Kearney.
They had a green violation though, so Mike's gonna have another shot at it.
Number 44, that time converts. You don't give a good player two cracks at it. 85-66 now here for Woodstock. Now Searles for St. Stephen, being watched by Lawrence. Searles back here to Robinson. He'll throw up the three-pointer. That's off the back of the rim and controlled now by Woodstocks. Lawrence to Lawson, trying to feed DeLong. Back to Taylor, to DeLong. That's off the rim. Controlled now by Jamie Wheaton for St. Stephen, right through a maze of players as he brought the ball up court. Now Searles in towards the basket, and pretty nifty play, but missed the bucket, did Searles.
I think he's a little out of control there.
Now Lawrence here for Woodstock, into the corner to DeLong, trying to feed Wetmore. That went through a maze of hands, and it's going to be turned over here by Woodstock. 6:23 remains. 85-66. A 19-point differential here favoring Woodstock. Robinson looking to make it 16, but no. Babcock missed it. Well, they can't have missed those. They can't afford that, Andre.
No, they can't. It's kind of reminiscent of the girls' game where in the girls' game, the Woodstock Wildcats couldn't buy a basket. Here, St. Stephen's having that kind of problems now.
Now Wetmore back here to Lawrence. And St. Stephen now throwing a little bit of press into the proceedings, and they get a turnover. This is 4-on-none. Mike Weeks. Boys, he almost missed that one. Timeout being called here by Woodstock, and probably a good timeout being called by Brian Boyd. He saw this Woodstock team get a little bit out of control there, and here's a replay on this. 4-on-none, and Weeks, watch right here. He almost missed it.
Well, they threw a little run and jump at them, and that's something that teams, if you're not prepared to see that, it really disrupts the offensive flow. And Coach Boyd makes a good call here. Gets a timeout, lets the team know how they're going to have to handle it. They'll get out there and we'll see how they handle it, but at least he knows what to expect here.
Well, I think at this point in the game, St. Stephen's got to try that as well and just force the ball and put some pressure on Woodstock and hope for some turnovers because they are running out of time. Is St. Stephen. They're down 85-68 in this game. We're down to 5:57 left to go. We've seen bigger deficits have been overcome, Andre, but it doesn't happen too often in the final 12.
No.
Against the #1 team in the province.
No, I don't think I've ever seen it at the final 12 happen. I've seen it. I've seen it. UMB did it earlier this year, but I've never seen it at this particular venue.
Now Wetmore back here to Lawrence. And once again, a double team on the ball here by St. Stephen, but he gets it up to Wetmore. Over here to Kearney now here for the Warriors. Back to Lawrence, to Wetmore. Wetmore now. Will that count?
Oh. That was a tremendous play, Colin Wetmore. Gets fouled, the ball, he loses the handle on the ball and then taps it into the hoop.
Well, you know things going right. You watch this here. Wetmore looked like he rolled up his fingertips, but he said no.
He tapped it in. It was a tremendous play.
Yeah, by that man right there who's had a heck of a ball game, Colin Wetmore. So looking for the three-point play now is number 6 here for Woodstock. Make this an 88-68 game. 20 points now is the deficit. That's Robinson, rejected by Mr. Wetmore, but the rebound brought in by Babcock. Now Kearney, up ahead to Wetmore. Back here to Lawrence, to Kearney, to Taylor, to Lawrence, to Mike Kearney. Pretty good pick there by Boyd, who now has it. Boyd with a freebie.
And Woodstock made a good call there. They ran their offense, take some time off the clock.
Now Robinson being hounded there by Lawrence and by David Boyd. Robinson lays back here now to Searles. Here for St. Stephen. To Robinson. You can hear the bench saying, shoot the ball. Well, he did, and he missed it. Now inside here, the rebound converted by Jamie Wheaton for St. Stephen. Wetmore over here to Mike Kearney. Now for Woodstock, back here to Wetmore. Now Wetmore into the corner to Boyd. Boyd, and
there we have an offensive foul there.
Number 12, Mike Weeks was sent sprawling. What's the replay here? Right here, and Weeks was there, and Boyd said, no, you're not going to stay there.
Oh, he had the good position. Good play there. Now, though, St. Stephen is really running out of time. There's 4:32 remaining in the game, 90-72 Woodstock. It'll be tough for them to get back from this one.
And hopefully upon the conclusion of this game here tonight, we can have our intrepid reporter, T.C. Klein, talking with the winning head coach. Whomever it might be, Brian Boyd, right now looks like he might be the man, but who knows? Donnie Walker, of course, the head coach of St. Stephen. There's Brian Boyd. Very animated and saying, come on, boys, it's not over yet.
I think the games that Colin Wetmore and Mike Kearney gave the Woodstock Warriors, just tremendous effort today by the two of them. You know, the two best players on the team, they really stepped up. I thought Colin Wetmore really picked this game up a notch today.
For sure, and there's your Funded Cable 10 scoreboard, 90-72. We're being hovered by our producer here, T.C. Klein, and by the program director at Cable 10, Cushella Hathey, making sure this thing goes very smoothly. With, of course, Rob Johnson is our director. Should mention our crew, once again, our Crackerjack Cable 10 crew, Carl Drost, Denis Cormier, Sean Leland, Stanley Hawks, Rodney O'Donnell, and Stan DeVoe. Here at the Aiken Center, I'm Dave Ritchie along with Andre Champagne. The final 12 tournament, the AA boys, right now being handled there by Woodstock for that bucket there by Greg Robinson for St. Stephen. Now Wetmore over here to Lawrence for Woodstock. into Boyd. That pass picked off by Jamie Wheaton. Like picking cherries over here, and that doesn't go for Searles.
If he would have hit that, finished that after getting fouled, they are still in it, like Donnie Walker says.
Well, they're 15 down. That was a big bucket there just previously by Robinson. I don't know how many points Robinson has in this game. He's been outstanding for St. Stephen.
He has played well for them.
Searles with the foul shot, number 4 here for the Spartans.
This is a time here where you've got to hit your foul shots.
Yeah.
You should hit them on the whole game, but right now at crunch time, you really got to make these.
Once again, Searles. And once again, he missed it. Deja vu. Ball's going to go to Woodstock on that jump. Well, Andre, 4:03 remains in this game. St. Stephen down by 15. And you're right, they cannot miss foul shots like that.
No, and if they ever needed a defensive stop, it's right now. They got to stop them here, and they got to look to score right away.
Lawrence down here for Woodstock trying to break this press, and will to Wetmore. Ahead now to Looney. Here to Kearney, to Wetmore. Wetmore to the jumper that's off the rim, and it goes for Colin Wetmore. And Don Walker can only raise his arms, and he's exasperated as a head coach for St. Stephen. Now it's in the corner. It's Michael Weeks, and he gets the bucket for St. Stephen.
That's a nice bucket. That's a tough shot to hit.
Now Kearney here for Woodstock. Up here to Lawrence, to Looney. Slow it down, says his teammates. Lawrence, Looney, Taylor, Lawrence. Inside of Wetmore, plays called, foul.
Well, that was a smart play by Donnie Walker. He was calling for a hand check. Woodstock was just running time off the clock, so the player comes over, just basically taps the Woodstock player. It's a foul, but they have fouls to give, so that was a good call by Donnie.
That's Greg Robinson with the foul, number 10, as you look at the Woodstock huddle. The powwow. That man in the middle, Ryan Boyd.
Well, what St. Stephen's going to have to do now is they're going to have to come down, probably hit a really quick 3, and they got to keep the clock stopped. If Woodstock gets a hold of the ball, they're going to have to foul them. They've still got 2 fouls to give, but they got to stop the clock and look to steal the ball when Woodstock tries to get the ball inbounds. They can't let Woodstock just handle or run their offense for 30 seconds. They don't have enough time for that now.
Well, there's Donnie Walker, the man in the middle there for St. Stephen. And he's been rather agitated this entire ball game. And for just cause, his team trails 92-77. Been a tough goal for that team in green. But not so much a matter that they played that poorly, Andre. It's been a case where Wetmore and Kearney particularly have upped their game to a championship level.
Well, for sure. Like Mike Kearney, he averages about 24 points a game, and he's right on that pace today. Colin Wetmore averages about 18 points a game, and he beat that in the first half. He had 23 at the half.
Lawrence looking for the second shot and will make it here for Woodstock. Now White here for St. Stephen. Dishes off here to Weeks. Robinson now. Being watched by Lawrence. Robinson
taking too much time.
To White. That's off the rim. Controlled by St. Stephen. Babcock, he misses. Weeks can't control, and it will be finally controlled by the Woodstock player Looney, who got popped. Well, they call that against St. Stephen.
I think if he doesn't give that ball to Woodstock, there should have been a foul called.
Yeah. Now Weeks out front here to Robinson, who was pushed by his old man Babcock. Who now has it. Back here to White. Over here to Weeks. To White. To Weeks. Rejected by Mike Kearney.
That's a big block shot by Mike Kearney. And a big risk for him to take. He's got 4 fouls.
Yeah. Here's a replay on this one. Well, the big man here for Woodstock. Right here, Weeks said no. That'll come back. Courtesy of Mike Kearney. Weeks will inbounds here for St. Stephen. To White, back to Weeks. Back to White. That shot's missed. Wetmore has it on the rebound. Hounded there, a triple team on Colin Wetmore, but he did the wise thing. Now Taylor has it here for Woodstock. To Kearney. That's up for two. In traffic, Kearney with the basket for Woodstock. Now Robinson here for St. Stephen. Robinson.
Spending too much time hanging on to the basketball. He's either got to shoot it or get rid of it, one or the other.
Robinson. That shot is off the rim. Controlled by Mr. Wetmore. Over here now to Lawrence. To Mr. Kearney. Back to Lawrence. To Taylor. That's a cookie for Ryan Taylor.
That was a good ball movement by Woodstock.
98-77. This one's getting out of hand, I think, for St. Stephen.
Oh, I think the Woodstock and the St. Stephen players both know it. St. Stephen is panicking. They really know that they've got to hit everything now, and they've run out of time.
Wetmore over here now to Looney. In here to Kearney. He's fouled by Weeks, I believe. Fouls on Weeks. Well, we're down to 58 seconds remaining in this game, Andre. 98-80 is the score. As you look at the Funding Cable 10 scoreboard,
And Colin
if St.
Wetmore,
Stephen wins this game, we have a scoop.
Colin Wetmore just left the game. I don't know how many points he scored in the game. He had 23 at the half. He scored a bunch in the second half, too.
Yeah. And there's the other part of the dynamic duel for Woodstock, Mike Kearney. Give this team a lot of credit, as well as St. Stephen. Another foul here on the Spartans. Then we're seeing some of the secondary people for Woodstock. Jason Cronkite, number 10 with the ball at that time. Spence with a foul here for St. Stephen. So it puts Cronkite at the line. Grade 12er. You can tell those kids down the road I played in the final 12.
That's right. That's something they can't take away from you.
That's right. And he's got the video to prove it. And that time he connects. Now Robinson here for St. Stephen. That went off Robinson, I believe. It's going to go to Woodstock.
Well, we're just told that Colin Wetmore finished with 36 points today.
An off day for Colin Wetmore. Cronkite. The Lawrence. Of course, we are being facetious. DeLong. In here to Lawrence. That's off the rim.
Be interesting to see what the final 12 record is for most points in a game by an individual player.
Now Robinson. All sorts of congestion just in front. And Dallas Dunn is called for the foul.
That's his fourth.
Here's a foul. Here's the replay of this. Here you watch the congestion right here, right there,
Yeah,
Dunn.
He came in and set an illegal screen. That's
Well, if they ever get a football team with St. Stephen, there's your tight end right there.
right.
Now Lawrence. That long shot there by number 7, Ferguson, doesn't go for Woodstock. Lawrence once again, though, on the giveaway back here to Ferguson. Into Lawrence, to Cronkite. Count 2 more for Woodstock.
Woodstock goes over the 100-point barrier. I'm sure that.
Well, here's a replay on this. Jason Cronkite is contributing here late in the ball game. 101-80. Woodstock with 10 seconds remaining.
The entire Woodstock community up on its feet after that basket.
Well, it's been a scoring fiesta here tonight for the team in white. That shot wayward, and once again goes up and control here by Kearney, and maybe very appropriately Andrew Champagne, the man with the ball last for Woodstock, Mike Kearney.
Well, he had a tremendous game, Mike and Colin Wetmore in particular, but the whole Woodstock team, like you said earlier, they played great. They played tremendous defense. They gave St. Stephen fits. They scored at will. Played a great game.
Well, a magical moment there being shared by the Woodstock Warriors. And well, they might 102-80 is your final. A 22-point differential, as it turns out. And we talked about Wetmore and we talked about Kearney at the outset, and they delivered as advertised.
That's right.
As they give the runner-up plaque here to St. Stephen. Well, this is a small consolation, obviously, Andre, but to get to the Final 12 itself is an accomplishment for Donnie Walker.
Well, I think, in all fairness, Donnie Walker, great coach. You know, he's got a good program down there. I think that the Woodstock team just has a little bit more talent than the St. Stephen team does. It got to be a point there where Robinson was trying to do everything for St. Stephen in that game, and he wasn't getting any help from his teammates. And that's tough. You can't win like that.
And as they hoist the trophy to the Aiken Center roof here, Woodstock, the provincial AA boys basketball champion for 1994, and they salvaged something for the school here in the Final 12. They had 3 teams in this tournament. The Class A girls team went down to defeat, as did the AA girls team as well, but not the AA boys.
Well, it's nice to see that. I'm sure the fans in Woodstock are pretty pleased.
And they do it in rather convincing fashion as well.
Number 5, Andrew Lawrence.
As they present now the winners' badges to the Woodstock Warriors. And I'll tell you, Andre, look at the program here. They have a lot of players coming back, including Mr. Wetmore.
Yeah, that's something I'm sure most of the other AA schools aren't too pleased about, but he's back for another year. He's only in grade 11.
He's some player, and a marquee performance by a marquee player. We're going to get T.C. Klein here upon the conclusion. We will be talking with Brian Boyd, and T.C. Klein will be doing the interview when we get a chance to tap into the Woodstock head coach, who will be a happy camper for sure.
If it's not Colin Wetmore, I'll be very surprised. Oh my. Player of the game went to Greg Robinson.
Well, if there was a marquee player for St. Stephen, he was the man.
That's for sure, yeah. But it surprises me that Colin didn't get it. Oh, I guess they had one for each team.
Yeah.
Oh.
No surprise.
No, none whatsoever there.
Andre called it.
He only averages 18, he averages 18 a game, and 36 is, that's tremendous.
Well, who knows, down the road, Andre, he might look good in green colors.
He might.
Of the St. Thomas Tommies.
He might, yes.
Not the green of the St. Stephen Spartans, though.
No. Well, that was a fun game to watch.
Yeah, very highly intense game as well, I thought,
Yeah.
and right from the get-go. And we really thought the three-pointer by Robinson right at the outset would sort of set the tone for St. Stephen, but it really didn't. But Mike Kearney and Wetmore, I think Wetmore in the first half particularly, Andre, really controlled this game.
Well, St. Stephen had a heck of a time trying to defend Wetmore, and anytime they did stop him, well, there's Mike Kearney to pick up. So they're a tough team to defend. Very talented team. You got to hand it to both teams. They came out here to play. Woodstock played very well. They didn't miss. They must have shot 65% from the field.
Okay, I think we have T.C. Klein in position with Brian Boyd, so throw it down to T.C.
Thank you very much, Dave and Andre. I'm joined now by Brian Boyd. Brian, the winning coach, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Provincial champions 1994. You started off with an early lead and really never looked back. What made the difference for you?
Oh, well, Colin Wetmore had a very big game today. I mean, he shot the lights out, so I thought he made a big difference in the game. Ryan Taylor, Andrew Lawrence, everybody I thought played well. Yeah. But Colin certainly put an exclamation mark on it.
Yes, he did, and congratulations to him as well, of course, the Player of the Game award. You've played St. Stephen a couple times earlier in this season. They've been hard-fought battles, close games.
Yeah.
What was the big difference today? Rebounding? You obviously have a little bit of size on them.
Yeah. Well, we've beat them twice by 3 during the regular season. Going down the stretch here for the past 3 weeks, we have picked our defense up. We let them score too many points as far as I was concerned. But last weekend during the regionals, we beat Southern Vic by 32. We beat Tantramar by 30. Our defense just kept going up a notch every game, and I think we played pretty good defense this game here, even though we let them score 80.
This is a
Robinson played, we just couldn't stop Robinson.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal ball player, no doubt about it.
Basketball player.
This gymnasium, of course, there's a lot of talk about it being a difficult place to shoot in. It's hard to get depth perception behind the backboards. It's a big place, but your kids shot an incredible shooting percentage today.
We kind of disproved that theory, I guess, didn't we? Yes, we did shoot a good shooting percentage. We focus a lot in our practice in intense shooting, no question about it. So I expect to shoot well.
Once again, congratulations. Thanks for joining us. I'll let you go and celebrate.
Okay.
Brian Boyd, here's the head coach of your 1994 AA Class Boys Provincial Champion Woodstock Warriors. Brian, thanks again.
Thank you.
Back over now to Dave and Andre.
Okay, TC, thank you very much. And effusive head coach there, Andre Champagne, for Woodstock. He was pretty excited, was Brian Boyd, as well he should be.
Oh yes, he's excited, and you're happy for them. It's nice to see the Woodstock team come in and win at least one of them. They played very well, shot the ball great. They expect to win, I guess he says, when they shoot like that, and they did.
Well, I want to thank Rob Johnson for taking off the channel there. But just want to give credit to our Crackerjack Cable 10 crew. Look at those names when they come up on the screen. They make it go here on the Final 12 tournament. Once again, the final score here, St. Stephen losing this game here to Woodstock, 102-280. My thanks to Andre Champagne and all the crew from Cable 10, along with our host, TC Klein. From the Aiken Center, this is Dave Richard saying so long. The final score here, once again here tonight, Woodstock 102 and St. Stephen 80. They've won the AA Boys Championship for 1994 of the Woodstock Warriors.